Remember, this entire manga and every manga on this channel is hand-drawn by myself, and now you too can learn exactly how to make your own viral Dragon Ball mangas at www.makemanga.com, where you can learn directly from me. My mangas have got me on TV, on newspapers, and even earned me over $60,000 a month on Patreon alone. And now, you can click the link in the description and pinned comment of this video and do it yourself. You only need to see the website to see just how many thousands of you are taking this opportunity right now. And don't forget also, the next video to this Ultra Vegito series has already been made and is live now on my Patreon right now for over 4,500 of you incredible fans to watch after this. Again, links are in the pinned comment and description. Enjoy. So our story continues with a scene of the new Vegito from an alternate multiverse, the Omni King, revealed also to be the devil, sitting, meditating in deep thought and concentration with his eyes closed, his body seemingly ravaged by what looks like an intense training session, as without a word, he would train solemnly in complete engrossment. But even in this deep thought, his mind would actively be reflecting. It's crazy how things can change so quickly. 1 minute, I felt like I'd be spending eternity cooped up in that palace, watching over my universes. And now, I'm here, training directly with an elder god. To think, they would have facilities even greater than the Pyramid of Power here. We've all been training for decades now, in the span of just a few hours in the real world, honing our skills. Castiel is definitely a harsh teacher. That damn whip of his still stings even now. I guess this god-killer Vegito must really be that much of a threat after all. Not like I care though. Bring it on! But this essence of peace would soon be shattered when the Omni King Saiyan would be forced to burst open his eyes, sensing impending danger. Gohan! Think fast, Dad! As suddenly, seen speeding over to him with violence on his mind would be the Grand Priest Gohan. Him also topless, having been training as well. Well, you're eager. This makes a change, Gohan. As swinging a fist, Gohan would miss his father, but both Saiyans would be smiling nonetheless, as the two godly warriors would now take their training to the next level. Well, you chose me to be the Grand Priest for a reason. I couldn't let you down. As this new Gohan would prove his mettle, landing an elbow swiftly on Vegito to break the smiles. Wow, that actually hurt. You're getting real strong down here, huh? But only briefly, as rubbing his cheek, Vegito would look proudly over at his son. This was a really good idea. I know we have a mission to do, but it's been a long time since we had any reason to get stronger. This reminds me of the good old days. Remember when you and Mr. Piccolo trained me for the androids? But Vegito, now getting into fighting stance, would respond, The androids? You're talking about something that happened centuries ago, Gohan. Can't tell you. I remember too much of those times. But I can say, you're giving me the same feeling I had when you fought Cell. I like it, kid. You haven't seen anything yet, Dad. As Gohan, cracking his neck in almost Piccolo style, would prepare himself for part 2 of their skirmish. Too slow! But with the Omni Devil's instantaneous speed, Vegito would already be right by Gohan's gut, faster than the Grand Priest could possibly detect, his hand still placed softly on his neck, not expecting the shift in battle so soon. As with a swift strike, Vegito would get his revenge, slamming Gohan backwards with force. Fast! I should have known better! Leaving Gohan to land backwards on one knee, his body hunched, still feeling the force of his father's attack. You really should know better! But the speed would not end there, as only moments later, before Gohan could even get up, Vegito would already appear behind, with his forearm wrapped around Gohan's neck. Looking to his son with a confident grin and remarking, "Those angel eyes of yours can't seem to keep up, can they? When are you going to study the ways of the Seraphim like I told you? Even the Saiyan version would do you better." As now forcefully pulling Gohan and himself up to their feet, Vegito would continue lecturing Gohan until Vegito's speech would end, once he would feel the touch of a single finger on his backside. "That energy! There's no way!" Alarming the Omni King, as he would immediately recognize who it was and turn his eyes quickly. "Gohan!" "I told you before, Dad. I'll find my own path to power. I don't need something like the Seraphim." As somehow tricking even the Omni Devil, Gohan would be right behind Vegito, and with a cocksure smile, just like in the original multiverse we know, this version of Gohan would be adamant to find his own way to the top, different to his father. As just like that, the Gohan Vegito held onto would immediately poof away as a clone, leaving Vegito to quickly jump back to regain some distance between him and his clearly skilled son. "Well, suit yourself. Clearly you know what you're doing, kid. To trick these eyes, you really have gone up in the world. But let's see if your brute strength can keep up too." As immediately pulling his arms out together, long and wide, Vegito would then retaliate with a divine power-up of Son Goku's signature move. Strength isn't everything, but don't worry, I've been preparing to keep up. As perfectly in tune with his father, Gohan too would then place his hands together, a shining ball of deep blue energy beginning to appear out of thin air, sending beams of light in all directions until... Enough! A dragon! All until abruptly, both Saiyans would be stopped on the spot, each wrapped around instantly by a Shenron-like dragon, but purple in color, screaming at both faces as if they were speaking the tongue of the dragons to stop. And up in the air, a certain Namekian god would be levitating, with his arms outreached on either side like a referee. Revealed of course to be the dragon god Piccolo, and looking down like the divine being this version of the Namekian is, he would let out, "That's enough from you two. This isn't your domain, Vegito. It isn't unbreakable. Go too far and we'll all be trapped here. I suffered that once with Gotenks. I'm not doing it again with you two." And just like that, the mini Shenrons that left the Saiyans paralyzed would then instantly vanish from the spot, like they were more illusion than reality. What is this? A trip down memory lane? You're both reminding me of the past. Guess that's what happens when we're finally all back together again. If I remember correctly though, you used to be just as much into your training as us, Mr. Dragon God. But Piccolo, smiling back, would tap his head and respond, "I do, Vegito, but unlike you, I can train whenever I want up here, fighting myself in my mind over and over, and simulating scenarios against any opponent I want. It keeps me sharp, without all the noise and theatrics." I can train with my mind too, but I didn't know you could fight others in there. Tell me, Piccolo, just how many times have you tried to beat me in there? This revelation from Piccolo leaving the Omni King intrigued, his arms folded with a smile, looking up to his friend. Classified information, Saiyan. As Piccolo, grinning back, would begin pulling back down his divine hood before with a sudden toss, he would remove his entire covering garment in one swoop. The cape falling instantly to the ground like a lead bullet and creating a gigantic explosion in the process. In the end, the white piece of clothing just being seen dug into the ground of this strange, hyperbolic time chamber-like realm, cradled in a crater of its own weight. Mr. Piccolo, you still wear stuff like that? It just gets heavier every season, doesn't it? What a masochist! As comedically, both Gohan and Vegito would be taken back by the extreme lengths their old friend still to this day sticks to. Well, it may be classified, but I'm sure we can find out right now, Vegito. Sorry, Gohan, but time for the old men to settle things. As with an excited grin that takes years off his face, Piccolo would be full of enthusiasm to have his crack at the legendary Omni-Devil Vegito. No! He's gone! Vegito! But talking of the fused warrior, back in our multiverse, things would be far less full of smiles and far more dire, as a stunned Prince of Saiyans Vegeta, still holding on to his son, would be dealt even more bad news, having just witnessed the complete and sudden erasure of their last hope, Ultra Vegito. Goodbye. It was a fun ride while it lasted, Vegito. As Elder God Lucif, now increasingly coming into his new powers and status, would remain standing, the last particles and shards of his longtime foe, Vegito, still passing by him, as the Archangel couldn't help but reflect on his newfound abilities. As expected, the difference between a destroyer's Hakai, even an angel's smite, It is incomparable to that of an elder god's erasing abilities. It's hard to believe anything could withstand that. It's no wonder. Those gods stand at the very pinnacle. I was truly a fool to think I could have done anything to those with the title Elder God. Before he would then slowly turn his body around, his arms behind his back and his eyes closed as he would address the warriors below, commenting, "And then there were 3. Son Goku had already merged with Vegito. The child claiming to be my half-brother has vanished, and now only Vegeta, Trunks and Jiren remain. Nearly energyless versions of yourself at that. You have enjoyed quite the show, so for the finale, I will give you a choice of a final act. Die by violence or simply be erased. Choose one." As coldly opening his eyes, casting judgment down on his victims, Lucifer would give the 3 god killers their final rites. "How considerate of him! Father, what do we do now?" And in response, surprisingly, the father and son duo of Saiyans would not be overcome by fear, but perhaps still acceptance of the situation. As Vegeta would then say to Trunks, while keeping his eyes on Lucifer, "Listen, Trunks, this isn't your timeline, and this isn't your fight to lose. Right now, I'll be honest, there isn't any point in trying past knowing I died like a Saiyan and not a punk. Whether you help me now or not, we will die at the end of this. You have a time ring. No one will judge you for leaving." But Trunks would just look up at the Elder God too and reply, "Father, I haven't even got anywhere to go back to at this point. I failed my timeline, and it looks like I failed this one too. Only difference is, this time I don't need to run. I can be here to die by your side. Whatever happens, this has been a dream come true for me." The future you always was a soppy one. Fine, I can't change your mind, so let's do this. As with a grin on his face, though he wouldn't be able to show it, the prince would be full of pride over his son's words. As just like that, in complete tandem with what energy they have, the 2 Saiyans would squeeze out a simultaneous transformation to Super Saiyan 3. Their long golden hairs flowing out as their electrified auras burst open out of their respective pores. As on closer inspection, with both sporting their Saiyan exclusive green seraphim also, there would be some power left in their tanks, both stern-faced and ready to make the most of their situation, with Vegeta crashing his fist into his palm saying, "One final time! We can't let Kakarot take all the glory dying first! Time to join that clown!" With Trunks responding, "See you on the other side, father." And with those poignant self-defeated words said, regardless, 2 Super Saiyans would immediately then rush forward at Lucifer, with the Elder God just muttering, "Old-fashioned violence, it is then." But as the 2 golden auras would fly forward, In the distance, a certain dual-horned beast of a man would be in watch, as Jiren, not attempting to join in, would curiously say, "Those two, they don't know, do they?" But regardless of Jiren's mysterious words, Vegeta and Trunks would continue their assault, vanishing and reappearing at violent speeds, so fast it would look like they had cloned themselves. The noise of several impacts and metal armor being struck, yet in the middle, Lucif would appear completely unmoving, not even attempting to dodge any of it. With scene after scene of Vegeta and Trunks landing strikes all over the head and behind Lucif. But his smile would be unbreaking, just looking at them as if observing birds, muttering, "This feels good. Go a little bit lower, please." But despite his humiliating words, the two Saiyans would just continue to aim solely for his upper body, hoping this would do something at least. "Take this!" As in their next move, with their physical assaults failing, both Vegeta and Trunks would then begin powering up concentrated spheres of energy together, before unleashing them simultaneously also, with the Archangel nonetheless not changing anything about his actions. The resultant combined beam creating a gigantic inferno of vicious flames and energy bursting into the skyline. "That had to do something, surely." "I'm not too sure about that, father." The two Saiyans left exhausted, but with small hopes that their feeble attacks had made some difference. But inside, the fear of retaliation would be clear to sense. "I see you!" As suddenly all doubts would be shed when the ominous presence of the Archangel would reveal himself. A giant, completed seraphim eye emerging from the dust clouds, glowing through in perfect cyan, its sight alone freezing Vegeta and Trunks. And in a flash, like the eye in the sky was merely a distraction, right behind both Vegeta and Trunks, the Elder God would appear. And in quick fashion, just as fast as he would appear, like putting down a farm-reared cow, both Vegeta and Trunks would be knocked back into base with single strikes to their necks, whiplashing them with force on impact. And that's a wrap, folks. As now, back as just one entity, Lucif would lift his arm into the air, looking down at the two Saiyans, who clearly have finally been finished off. Their eyes blank and mouths ajar, spewing blood. Earth's final forces were done for. Let's send you two off together. As with his glistening divine metallic arm in the air, his finger would point upwards, and with a twirl, a strange concoction of energy would begin to appear. As just like that, Vegeta and Trunks would be snapped back into consciousness, when a giant halo of energy would appear surrounding both of them, closing in quickly before... Like a stretched elastic band, it would come crashing down with a smack on both of them, crushing on their biceps and chests, bringing the father and son together back to back. He's breaking our bones! The tightening getting even more extreme as the prince would begin screaming out, all the while the elder god Lucif would remain on top, a smile on his face looking down until he would let out Elder Erasure. Goodbye, Trunks! Father! As instantly on hearing this, both would close their eyes, preparing for the end, gritting their teeth and waiting to be turned into nothingness. This is... But in another turn of events for the Saiyans, quickly, all sight of Lucif would vanish when a giant darkness would overshadow them, and above, a viscous, fast-growing goo that would be crashing down like a tsunami over them. What is this? Leaving a bemused look on the elder god as he would watch his prey rapidly compress into a small mass of goo right before him, leaving his grasp at the last second. And almost immediately, the now increasingly getting smaller ball would then shoot off away. It's moving on its own! What magic is this? Leaving Lucif stunned, as the ball would now appear as a mere dot in the distance. And creepily as it would speed away, the faces of Vegeta and Trunks screaming would be able to be made out, their eerie voices yelling as if not approving of this at all. And when it would travel enough and compress enough, we would soon see it reach a shadowed arm in the distance, splashing straight onto it like a symbiote virus. Time to reach completion with some extras. As soon it would be revealed only one man could be behind this, with Ultra Vegito revealed back in the flesh, not a dent on him, smiling as both Godkiller Vegeta and Godkiller Trunks become part of him. The sight of Vegito instantly sending shockwaves through the elder god, as now, not understanding what is even happening, he would think internally, "Now this makes no sense! How could he possibly be back? I erased him. I saw it with my own eyes. An elder god erasure survived!" Oh, sorry. Did I forget to show you my jewelry? Guess being humble has its perks. As looking to his left hand, Vegito would reveal his possession of 5 time rings on one hand, with one fading away after use to leave 4, with Vegito adding, "Each ring has 2 lives. Unfortunately, this one has already been used twice. But I have plenty more, as you can see, Lucif. This battle is far from over." What? Time rings? As immediately, Lucif's eyes would burst open, remembering his past adventures within Vegito when the Godkiller used to have one, as he would mutter, "When did he possibly get more? Where? Cronoa, Is she behind this? But as Lucif would be left wondering, the fusion of Vegeta and Trunks into Vegito would be reaching its completion, seeping into the armor of the God Killer, as immediately, lowering his head as if struggling to handle the power, Vegito would still at least grumble, "Your memory must be short-lived, friend. Have you forgotten already about the Vegito that first greeted you? He is who I took these from." As behind Vegito, Lucif Vegito and his full set of time rings would be seen in a flashback until... With a thunderous roar, Vegito would let everything out, his whole face and body immediately flashing into pure light, losing track of all his many detailed features. An explosion of wild, uncontrollable aura in the distance as the Archangel would stand on the trembling ground before him. With his wide eyes peering, wind and debris flying all around him, he would think, "So, this is the real completed Vegito." And as Vegito's transformation would begin reaching its climax, it would seem it would not just be him giving it their all, as surrounding him, whether mentally or metaphorically, the three God Killers would also be screaming from the depths of their souls, culminating in a flux of spherical energy with a shining precipice in the middle. He's doing it! The combined might of Universe 7's warriors is finally showing itself again. As Jiren, covering himself from the raging aura, would just be left remembering the events of the Tournament of Power and what happened when the Z Fighters last worked together. Eventually though, the concentrated power-up would explode in a flash, covering everything in light, but leaving one lone figure behind. As finally, Ultra Vegito, the Devil, would be all together again. Goku, Vegeta, and even Trunks added now, as in an all-new form. A black and white-haired warrior would emerge, with black gloves, black armored greaves, and an all-new red and black 3 eyes. He would stand with an all-new level of dominance and aura about him, not saying a word as the smoke around him would fade. Just standing there, with his dual-colored bangs flowing in the wind, Vegito would look down at his black gloves, thinking only to himself, "This is it. This is my limit. The culmination of everyone I had to get through to get here. If this isn't enough for an elder god, nothing will be." Nice form. It reminds me of my old ones. As Lucif, now having regained his confidence in himself, would be back to smiles, perhaps not trying to show any weakness to Vegito, as he would continue, "Finally fused back with Son Goku and Prince Vegeta. How does that feel?" But in response, Vegito would still not have a word to say, lost in his own presence, just looking up at the sky, silently. "You dare to ignore me?" But the insolence would be far too much for the Archangel, as he would immediately then lift up his arm again, saying, "Fine, I'll dispose of you just as those two were meant to be." Immediately now triggering a side noticing from the God Killer. As just like before, a halo of energy would immediately form around Vegito, but this time it would be grabbed as fast as it would appear. What? What is he doing? Surprising Lucifer at how easily his attack would be stopped, but the surprises were only beginning. This isn't big enough! As suddenly treating it like it were a malleable piece of toffee, with complete ease, the new Vegito would begin stretching it completely out of shape until in the most unexpected of sequences, Vegito would show complete disrespect for Lucifer's divine energy, using it as a jump rope on the spot. The speed of the skips being so insanely fast, waves of destructive wind would be blasting in all directions. Thanks for this. This is just the warm-up I needed. This is Vegito! As in a stunning final scene, with a classic grin now back on the God Killer's face. A classic look of fear and anxiety would be left on his next victim now too. Finally, the true power of Vegito had resurfaced, and with so many time rings at his disposal, he may actually pull this off. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag Vegito in the comments down below, and let me know just what the hell you're seeing on screen. Or just find out what happens right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked, and edited for you to enjoy with over 4,500 plus other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too.